What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be looking at another 5 games. This will be 5 FPS horror games. Now, I've always loved first-person shooters, and horror is probably my second favorite genre, so this will probably be one of my favorite lists right here. I got newer games on this list, I got older games on this list, maybe 1 or 2 that you haven't heard of. So just sit back, grab a quick drink, and just enjoy the list. Before we get into it, please like and subscribe to the channel. Helps get out to the public. And I guess other than that, let's get right into it. Now, the first game on the list is Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth. This is a game released in 2005, came to PC in 2006. Now, this is like a mystery game alongside being an FPS horror game. Now, at the time, this game got a little bit of flack, but a lot of the gameplay elements and even ways of scaring the player were honestly ahead of its time. The story was also really good, as well with the environments. They really captured that creepy feeling that I always look for in horror games. There's also some puzzle solving elements in this game, alongside its actually decent graphics for the time. Honestly, you can play this game nowadays in 2020 and get a really good playthrough, which you can't say about a lot of games that came out in 2006. So even though this game might get mixed reviews online, I think it deserves a place on this list. Now, the next one is Bioshock. I'm pretty sure almost everybody knows about this game. Released in August of 2007, when it first came onto the scene, it blew everyone's mind. The story was perfect with a really good twist. And even though it is more of a shooter game than horror, there are some sections in there that actually had me freaked out, especially in the beginning. Honestly, the whole playthrough, it keeps up this horror atmosphere. Even though you're blasting enemies away the whole time, it still makes you fear them at the same time. Now, I can't really say that about the other games. I don't think that the rest of the series has translated the horror vibes that the first one had. But when I first booted up this game, I was expecting an FPS shooter experience. But when I got scared as hell, not even 10 minutes in, I was really surprised, I can tell you that. This game's location was also really unique. An underground city in like the 1950s or 60s. I had never seen that in any other media. Honestly, if you haven't played this game and you enjoy horror games or FPS games, you need to play this one. It's a masterpiece of the genre. Now, this next one's actually a classic, but it did help pave the way for a lot of horror FPS games. It's Clyde Barker's Undying. This one was released in 2001, and for the time, the graphics in this game actually are really good, and for me, they translate well today even, especially with all the old school style games going around. Now, this game I really liked because the game really pushed a story alongside the horror, which you didn't see too much in horror games back then, where you're returning to this family house that has dark secrets and you're trying to shoot your way through but also uncover this mystery. Now, surprisingly, this game kind of went under the radar, especially nowadays. I don't think many people even know what the heck this is. Now, the horror sections might not be as scary today, but they definitely will still get a jump out of you. For a horror game, it's actually a pretty bright game. There's a lot of lighting in the mansion, and the interior design is really well done. If you like old school games and horror, I think you definitely need to check this one out if you haven't. Pretty sure there's a copy around it somewhere, maybe on GOG, but this game definitely needs some more recognition. This next game was actually free on Steam and was made in the Half-Life engine in 2012. This is Cry of Fear. Now, this game has honestly one of the best jump scares in any horror game in like the first 2 minutes. So if that doesn't tell you off rip what this game has to offer, then I don't know what will. Now, it is the Half-Life engine, so the shooting and gameplay could be a little janky, but somehow they really made this a scary game in an old school engine. And on top of the main story, there's also plenty of extra campaigns on the side that you can play. They're honestly really good. I played through a lot of them. You'll probably be seeing this game on stream sometime soon because I've been thinking of revisiting it. It's just that good. A mixture of darkness, weird creature design, and a story that has a lot of mystery behind it. It's up there with one of my greatest games of all time. And the crazy part is it's actually free. Now, last but not least at all is Fear, probably the gold standard of FPS horror. The shooting and gameplay was honestly some of the best on the market at the time, even now. The enemy AI is something I've never seen recreated as well before. And the slow-mo time makes those bullet impacts feel really punchy. And those ragdoll effects on top of it just make it perfect. And the horror side did get me a couple times too, I can tell you that. There's definitely some sections that can give you a spook. Now, the story, while not being too complicated, was pulled off really well. This game just mixes so many different ideas and puts them all together, and it just works perfectly. The graphics were really good for the time. Maybe some cutscenes might look a little janky nowadays, but while you're in the game and shooting enemies, it actually looks decent. This honestly right here has to be one of the best FPS horror games ever. And if you enjoy these types of games and haven't played it, then I don't know what you're doing. Well, that was the 5 FPS horror games list. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really have been enjoying making these types of videos. I like to see your comments about games that you've played, games that you haven't. I'm not exactly sure what the next video will be. Maybe you guys can give me a suggestion in the comment section. But I'm definitely looking forward to making more of these types of videos. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And you guys, other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.